The Merkuriusmind presents to you our weekly dose of inspirational teachings. So sit back, listen, and thrive. And please, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get notifications every time we release a new dose. Let's go!
Hello, friends. Welcome back to Merkuriusmind. This is a show that we talk about mental health, mental development, talk about personal development, talk about emotional intelligence, emotional development. We talk about self-awareness and how you can become the best of yourself, how you can thrive in every areas of your life, both personally and professionally. So on here, you will experience growth. And the good thing about this show is that we bring in people just like you and I that will come here and share insights with us, talk about their struggles, talk about their wins, talk about their experiences in life, share wisdom with us that can help us in the journey of growth, in the journey of personal development, in the journey of destiny and success. So guys, I want to appreciate each and every one of you who is a member of this community. You guys have been showing me love, and I so much and genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the reviews. Thank you for the ratings and everything. It's because of you guys that I'm here, and I feel inspired every day by each and every one of you. And who knows, a time will come where we'll do, have like a show where I can be able to meet each and every one of you one-on-one. And, I can't wait to hug each and every one of you and tell you how deeply I appreciate you. So thank you for being a part of this community. And guys, you know the deal, right? Every week, I try to bring in a guest. And today we have a special guest. Trust me, guys, the little discussion that we had even before this interview, I'm already inspired and pumped. And I said, I can't wait to introduce her to you guys so that she can share her wisdom with us today. Guys, I have with me here Kandi. Kandi is a nurse and a traveler. And trust me, her love for nature is phenomenal. And she uses her platform to inspire young women. She uses her platform to teach, young women about self-worth, self-awareness. And she is a die-hard lover of God. And she spread the gospel through her platform as well. So guys, she is loaded. She is someone who is spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically loaded. So there's a lot we'll talk about today. So I can't wait for us to dive into this conversation. So guys, please help me welcome Kandi to the Merkuriusmind. Welcome Kandi to the Merkuriusmind.
Thank you. That was a lot said. And is that me? Okay. Wow. I don't probably know me. But thank you so much. It is absolutely an honor to have been invited here and to even be here. I totally appreciate it. And yeah, for you to even see me the way you see me or say these things, I'm like, whoa. I'm truly honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a privilege for us to have you on the show. And, I want to thank you also for your time. I want to thank you for agreeing to do this, because of the kind of person you are so passionate about impacting lives, so passionate about inspiring people, so passionate about educating people, so passionate about telling people more about God. Trying to make sure people can gain whatever knowledge they need, whatever tools they need to have a life of their dreams. So that is the reason you are here. You could be doing so many things right now, but you choose to come here and share your knowledge and experience and wisdom with us. So I deeply appreciate you. Thank you very much. And guys, if you are, walking your dog right now or cooking or, whatever you're doing, maybe exercising, just give us a little bit of your time. I promise to make it worthwhile. It's going to be a very valuable moment that you are going to walk out from this episode with great knowledge that will change and inspire you. Then talking about being a traveler, Kandi, you just came back from Africa. How was the trip? Tell us about it. I'd like to know.
It's funny that you say being a traveler, because honestly, I like traveling, but I've not been to a lot of places. But
Okay.
hey, we're speaking into manifestations. I will definitely visit.
Exactly.
I have a lot of places to check out. But yes, I just recently came back from Cameroon, which is an absolutely amazing trip. I think it was even more, not just seeing family was the highlight of it, obviously, because I haven't seen my family in such a long time. But one of the things was just learning. It's kind of like seeing your country in a whole different light, that it's like you've grown and it's like you're coming back. My expectations or my knowledge about Cameroon from the time that I grew up there, and things that I just the time that I was there, is completely different from now in terms of who I am now, in the things that I have grown in, and just loving different things. And I got to see or visit one of the pioneers, or like pioneer sites of slavery, where slavery and slave trade was actually happening. Like, they have a whole place in Cameroon called the Bimbia Slave Village, which is, it's such a phenomenal thing to even see that this was where slaves were transported, like bringing slaves from other sides of Africa and transporting them through Cameroon. I think they have 3 in Africa: Cameroon, Ghana, and I think Sierra Leone. And not just that, but the landscape, just a whole lot of historical, beautiful places. And man, I cannot wait to go back again, because I have this goal now to tour all the cities in Cameroon and just get to experience all that Cameroon has to offer.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So I read in your bio that you came to America at the age of 19. That's a very sensitive age, if I will use that word, because being a young adult at the age of 19, 18, 19, and 20, those are the ages that we face a lot of peer pressures, pressures from environment and all that. So coming to America at that age, how I know that there are certain things maybe you did not expect in terms of the culture, the change and everything. So how was it? Was it too hard, or was it too easy for you to adapt and to the culture?
Honestly, like you said, it's such a sensitive age to have been coming, and I did not actually think about it in that light, especially when I left Cameroon. I don't think I'd actually thought about it, but the teenage years are definitely very, very sensitive, and the make or break years of your life, the years where we make a lot of mistakes. And trust and believe, I made a lot of mistakes in my teenage years. At that time, was it scary? I don't really think so. I don't really think about it. I don't remember myself as being scared when I came here. But it was a very tough transition. It was definitely a tough transition for me when I eventually came here and reality set in, like, hey, you're away from family, you're totally alone. And yeah, you have to figure life out by yourself. Fortunately, God had always put in me the ability to do things by myself and like to do things by myself. I've always fought for my independence. I mean, my mom will always want, because I was the baby of the house for so long. I have just one little brother, and I'm older than him for like almost 7 years. So I was the baby of the house for so long. So even being in my teenage years, my mom will always want my sisters to help me do things, but I fought through my independence. Like, no, I want to do it by myself. I want to do this by myself. It's always, there are times when I'll even escape to do it by myself just before she even finds out that I have done this thing. So when I got here, it was challenging. But I think that character trait of mine helped me a lot to be able to navigate the challenges that came with being in a new city, new country. And, even though I had my uncle, but that's a whole different story. It was not really, I wouldn't consider that as anything that really helped me. If anything, make it a lot difficult. But it was a tough transition. It was not an easy transition, but we thank God. I'm here now.
Wow, yeah, you're here now. I can see that. So you are a nurse, and most times I've watched you with the passion that you work. I've seen you sometimes you will talk about you can't wait to be off and all that, but all overall I know that, okay, you still love what you do. because in what you do, because, you know, in the whole totality of man, you know, work is included, your career is included, and every other thing that you do. I want to know, was there something special that inspired, you know, that choice, you know, that career choice for you? Or is it that, you know, you love, you know, treating people? Or I just want to know what inspired that.
I'm actually laughing because if there was one thing I never ever wanted to be in my life was a nurse.
Whoa.
Yes. I tell you that for fact. So the way nursing came, it's a story. I never ever wanted to be a nurse. I had never ever thought about nursing. Growing up, because I talked a lot, I always thought journalism, because I thought journalism are people that talk a lot. And because you ask me one thing, I'll answer and give. Journalism was the thing. I got to a certain age and journalism kind of like slowly navigated and found its way out. But back home, when I actually went to the university back home, I was in the business field. I was doing management, which was everything business. And I did like it. I did like the management side of things. And, you know, it was good. So nursing was the last thing I could have ever thought about. So you see that in everything that I did was totally away from from the healthcare field. It was not going to be a journalist, probably a lawyer, but nursing was so far away from it. I did not do science. I ran away from science when I was in high school. So I did not see nursing. But the way nursing came about, when I came here, obviously nursing was kind of the big thing. When you move to the US, everybody says, especially in the African community, it's kind of like if you're not a nurse, you're not anything. And that made me hate nursing even more. That was where my hatred for nursing actually started. The fact that everybody is talking about nursing, everybody is saying do nursing. And the more people tell me, the more I hate it, because I do not like to do what everybody is doing. I like to be different. I like to do my own thing. I wanted to go into management, but at that time I lived with my uncle, and one of the things that he said was like, it's going to take me a long time to even get anything. And then, lucky enough, I could do my own research. I got in contact with a friend that I knew from back home that told me about this website, which is an amazing website. I tell everybody up to today, Occupational Outlook Handbook. It literally has all the careers in the US.
Wow.
It's updated yearly. It has their salaries, like what you need, the qualification you need to get to that job and everything. It has the growth potential for that job, and it literally has everything on there. So I was looking on there to see like, okay, if I don't do management, what else can I do? And I was looking like, even if I had to do management, it's going to involve, you know, evaluating my transcript and all of that. So it was similar, like, and then I'm thinking about my family too. I want to be able to support my family. So if this management route is going to take a longer time for me to do, what other thing can I do that's going to benefit me and also help me support my family? Healthcare became the next best thing. And in healthcare, still, I did not want nursing. And mind you, my reason for not wanting nursing was just because, again, everybody says nursing, everybody is doing nursing. And I had a fear of blood as well. So I just I don't like blood. Everybody's doing it. And I just used those two to hate nursing, literally. And I got into sonography. So when I started taking my prerequisites in school, when I was doing my research, I found sonography. And I was like, oh, this is cool. A lot of people don't even know about sonography, which was very fine with me, because when they ask me, what are you going to school for? And I say sonography, and they're like, what is that? And I have to explain it. The fact that I have to explain and educate you on something, I am totally fine with that. It's in the healthcare, but it's not nursing. So I started going to school for sonography. And along the line, when I was taking my prerequisites, and everything was going great until when I was about to apply towards the time, I think it was my last semester before applying for sonography programs and stuff, it began to dawn on me that sonography is not very flexible. In the sense that when you are a sonographer, you can have an associate's degree or bachelor's degree, and that's the end of it. For you to go further, you can only have other certifications. Like, take for example, you're working with pregnant women. All you can do is like that ultrasound. And if you want to be a cardiovascular sonographer, you have to get certified in cardiology. So you just add vascular to what you already have, and that's it. It's not very flexible. And I think about it like, so I began to have doubts. I began to have doubts about the path that I had chosen at that point. And my friend's husband, her boyfriend at the time, one day asked me like, why am I doing sonography? And I said, well, I was happy to explain why sonography. And he pointed out the same. What he did not know at that point is like, I was already having a little bit of doubts, but I was on the fence of it. And I was trying to defend the path that I had chosen because God forbid I branched to nursing. And he was like, do you really think that in the next 10 years, do you see yourself as doing sonography? That rang a bell in my head. It really did ring a bell because sonography pretty much is just taking ultrasounds and stuff. And honestly, I would have gotten bored if I continued down that part. It would have been very boring. I would have gotten frustrated. And even at that, for me to be able to get into another thing in healthcare, I have to start all over because their credits are not like nursing or other flexible healthcare fields that you can easily transfer to be able to do something. No, you have to start all over, except your prereqs, which, I mean, that doesn't really count sometimes. So that kind of rang a bell in my head. And he was asking like, why do I not want to do nursing and stuff? And I obviously said, I don't like blood and I don't like what everybody's doing. But the fact that he pointed that question and said that to me kind of rang a bell in my head. And that gave me something to think about. And I kept thinking, and because I already had doubt, that kind of like planted the seed and just the seed started growing. So now I began to think like, okay, this nursing thing. I really sat with myself and I was reflecting. Radiology is kind of like the same path. It's different, better than sonography, but it's almost the same path as sonography. But I do not like radiology like that. Plus, you will need me to take a lot of physics classes, which I do not like. So I was like, So I started thinking about nursing. And in thinking of nursing, I'm like, but why do I hate nursing so bad? And I got to realize it was only at that point that I really got to realize the only reason why I did not want nursing was because everybody else was doing it. And I just came up with this whole thing of like, I'm afraid of blood too, to make myself more comfortable. Those were the only two things I could think about. So I was like, is this going to be my make or break? Is this worth making or breaking my future just because of this and stuff like that? So that's how I got into nursing. Down the lane, and lucky enough, as God will have it, and it's kind of like, I feel like God just trapped me into all of these things because it so happened that every prerequisite I had taken up to that time was the same that was required for nursing. Oh, so wow. It's not like I had to go back and start all over again. No, all I had to do, I had one semester left. It was just like that semester I just had to take chemistry if I wanted to, that was going to transfer to, my bachelor's and all of those things. So there was no need to go back and start all over. It was just a measure of going to the computer and changing my measure. That was it. That's how I ended up in nursing. But I struggled when I started school in nursing because of my perspective and how I viewed nursing. I had made a decision to be a nurse, but I had not loved it. I did not have a love for it. I was working as a home health aide, fine. I did not really care much or even see much of the job as something that could even help me. Was I happy working with the clients and taking care of them? Yes. But I mean, being a nurse, no. I did not even see those two things correlating. So at that point, when I was in school, my first semester, I struggled through my first semester. I had a lot of challenges, and not just my hatred for nursing, but I had a lot of challenges during my first semester adding to that. So I really barely made it to my second semester. And then the second semester too came, and I still struggled through it. But even in my struggling through it, I was excelling in the clinical side of it. Like on the written part and all of that, I was struggling because I had a lot of things to deal with. And plus, I was not really loving it. But on the clinical portion of it, I was excelling. My professors were liking me and they were giving me great comments, and you'll be this good nurse, you talk, and it's like, the way you talk to your patients, the way you do this, and it's like, okay, thank you. But again, that still did not ring in my head as in this is something that it's for you, or like there's a purpose in it. But when I got to my second semester and I struggled through my second semester and I barely made it, that was the highlight of it. I began to question, and it was at that time that I'd also been growing spiritually, that I was like, I sat with God, like, I am questioning this decision. Like 2 weeks, I took 2 weeks after my second semester. The 2 weeks break that we had was a time of just prayer and crying all every day. Like, what am I doing with my life? Am I messing up my life? Is this the right path for me, Lord? Should I go back to management? Was this what you really want me to do? I want to walk in the ways, because now, mind you, before that, because I was not spiritually sound, I did not have a clear view of what purpose is, or even bringing God into your career. So I was doing all of this by myself, making all of these decisions by myself. So now I'm at a point where I have grown a little bit spiritually, where I can know that God is the one that is going to lead all my decisions in life. And when he goes with me, he is with me. So now it's like, I never ever invited you. So now I know to invite you. So I took time off, kind of like just a retreat where I was just keep praying, and I would do other things, but my focus at that time mentally was just seeking God in terms of like, where do I go? Like, I am ready to make a U-turn if nursing is not it, and I am ready to move forward if this is it. Should I go back? And I was looking at other options and everything, until one day, I will never forget that day. It's like the light just shined. It's like this light just came upon me, where God turned and just opened my eyes to perspective. Perspective in the sense that my hatred for nursing, like my struggle through school, is just like, could you just think that your struggle is because you did not want to do it in the first place and you find no purpose in it? And I cannot remember exactly the exact words, but I remember that it was just this light moment. And I can remember exactly where I was standing, where this happened. There's this lake that like I said, I love nature. So you always find me by this lake. Every time I was in Maryland, there's no week passes by that I'm not at this lake. So I was there, and it was like this light just came upon me, and it was like a change of perspective. Like, am I struggling because I don't see any purpose in this and I just do not like it? And I was like, and I began to think to myself, and I think about all the comments that I've been getting from the clinical side of things. And the Lord began to just help me see that in nursing, there's so much purpose in nursing. I'm taking care of his people. I'm not only taking care of his people, but there is a way that I can reach out to people, to lost and everything through nursing, just by service. This service is not about money. It's the service. Like, there's more to it. And I began to open my eyes, and the perspective began to change. And I'm like, actually, I could have a purpose in this. God could use me for this. And why am I hating this thing just because everybody else is doing it? Besides, I am not everybody else. And it was then that I just prayed, and I got this confirmation in my spirit. And it was like, the only instruction the Lord gave me was to approach school differently, see it differently. That was the only instruction I got, see it differently. And in seeing it differently, I could see nursing in a whole different light. I could see all the blessings and all the love that is in nursing. And I tell you, the last 2 semesters of school was the most difficult semester in it's totally the most difficult semesters in nursing school, because it's like the semester to preparation and out, but it was the easiest for me. Wow. Those were my easier semester. It was like a turnaround. I went to school the 3rd semester. My friend was like, who are you? What is happening? You're on top of everything. You're not missing any class. You're not even like, you actually study before you come to class. This is something that never happened. You're answering questions in class. What is happening to you? I'm scoring high grades. I'm actually teaching my friends. And it's like, wait, who are you? What happened? But I got so much love for it. Wow. I began to see it different, and I began to find purpose in it. It changed the whole narrative and the whole perspective of it. And just knowing that God was with me through this journey too. And I think that just made everything completely different. Not that it was not still hard, but because I was seeing it from a different point of view, I was seeing it from a different side now, I could easily walk through the challenges of it and not let those challenges bring me down. Wow. That was a long rant. I'm sorry.
No. No, I was enjoying the story. Like, it's very interesting, because there are a lot of points that I picked from your story. And as you were sharing, I was just like reflecting on certain individuals that I've had the privilege to work with. And I see that you mentioned at the first, before you started, that nursing wasn't your thing. There was never a time you loved nursing. But as you share this story, there comes a time through the help of God and seeking clarity that the thing you think you didn't love, all of a sudden, that is a matter of perspective. You don't just see it as a job anymore. You see it as service. You see it as, fulfilling a purpose. And that is a very, people, it's something that maybe a lot of people had heard about, when they say purpose and service and stuff. But the way you share it is something that if people can reflect on it, the way your story is, it can help free a lot of people from thinking that their work is the thing that is dooming them, because a lot of people think that way. It might be all they needed to do was just think about it, bring it to God, and change the perspective they have around that career.
Yeah.
And look at how you mentioned, from the third semester, you were on top of your game and all that, simply because you changed the perspective you had around the belief you had around that same career that you once did not love. So thank you. That's very insightful. So, beyond story, there's a lot of transitional moments, a lot of challenging moments and transformative moments and all that. But one thing I figured, I said that to you before, that the way you carry yourself, with the things you have been through, with the things, the challenges you have been through, hardly will somebody see you and be like, oh no, he's down-spirited or something. All the time, it looks like there's this kind of energy that you carry with you, this kind of presence that you carry with you that gives you a lot of confidence. And that is something that is rare, not especially when it comes to young women, because sometimes it might be what they experienced while growing up, a lot of insecurities or abandonment or one thing or another, and the thing affected their self-esteem, or has affected their, caused them to feel inferior when it comes to the journey of life. But to you, it's just like it comes natural to you. So my question is, how? Because I know there is you can't really be that confident if you're not self-aware, because it's that self-awareness that will let you know who you are, that will give you that identity of who you are in Christ and who you are as a person. How did you gain so much confidence? When did you become so much self-aware? When did you understand your self-worth, your identity, and you exhibit it perfectly? I just want to know, when did that happen? Was there a time, or you think it's something that was inborn or something?